housekeeping. First portion of this is for broadcast radio online. Second portion will be for print. Once that first section is done, we'll move into the mixed zones. So TV, radio online, we'll start then. Print guys, please stay here. If anyone's recording on their mobile phone, make sure it's turned to flight mode or the volume is off. And can we keep flash photography down to the bare minimum, please, while the TV cameras are on. We will get underway with head coach Joe Schmidt announcing the team for the weekend. Thank you.
The team for this weekend against France, and apologies for the delay. We've just met and decided on it. Jamie Heaslip, Sean O'Brien, CJ Stander, Devon Toner, Mike McCarthy, Nathan White, Rory Best, captain, and Jack McGrath in the forward pack. And in the back line is Rob Kearney, Andrew Trimble, Jared Payne, Robbie Henshaw, Dave Kearney, Jonathan Sexton and Connor Murray. And the replacements are Ricard Strauss, James Cronin, Craig Furlong, Donica Ryan, Tommy O'Donnell, Owen Redden, Ian Madigan and Fergus McFadden.
What was the position that was causing most today?
We were just trying to clarify the fitness of Simon Zebo and Keith Earls, both of whom we have left out of the squad, obviously.
Are they going to be long-term?
No, again, one of the reasons that it took a while was they got through training, and at the same time they weren't, we just felt they weren't probably 100% fit, and therefore it was a risk. There's nothing worse than having someone replaced early in the game who potentially wasn't fully fit, and having someone come off the bench who's not fully fit is probably not the best thing to do when you're going to Paris.
What's happening is, Joe, besides, let's say, Sean O'Brien coming off that time just before the Italy game last year, is this the latest you've ever had to make,
Yeah, normally we'd name it before training and we'd be fully fit and everyone would have absolute clarity on exactly where they were playing and what their role was. And so, yeah, it's probably a bit unsettling and frustrating, but we have to get around it. It's one of those things with a 6-day turnaround, particularly travelling. If we had another day at home, we could hedge our bets a little bit, but we've got to get on a plane at 3:15 this afternoon, and we've got to take the players that are available to play.
How are you feeling, Johnny? You look very banged up coming off against Wales.
Yeah, I'm okay now. I just got sort of banged on top of the head, and it sort of just compressed my neck a bit, and I was sore for the last few days, but it's been great. I've turned it around pretty quick, and fit to go, and really looking forward to it now.
Will Paddy Jackson travel as well, just in case? Or?
No, Johnny's fully fit. We'll let Paddy go back and play for Ulster if there's time enough for them to adjust their group, and probably that keeps him ticking over. He is going really well with us, but again, when we've got so many variables in play at the moment with the back line. And Rob Kearney coming back, he trained really well today, but Ian Madigan just giving us that flexibility off the bench is probably just allowing him to stay ahead of Paddy as far as that selection is concerned.
Joe, did you name your own side after reading the French side that was announced this morning at 10 o'clock?
Yeah, because we just named our side now, but we did see the French side just before we started training, it's interesting that they've made a few changes.
John, just looking ahead to the game, specifically, what are you expecting from France? They were less than convincing against Italy at the weekend.
Well, we've only had one sort of chance to see them under the new management, and we saw hints of what they're capable of. Some of the new individuals they've brought in really impressed. Guys like Vakatawa, and now they've thrown in Teddy Thomas with him. So, they've got pretty dangerous guys across the back line. I'll leave the forwards up to Joe to speak about, but from a backline point of view, they've got dangers across the park. Dante as well. I've played against him a few times for Stade Francais when I was in Paris, and he's pretty similar to Bastro in stature, and he's got a lot of ball playing capabilities to add to that, and a bit of speed too. So like I said, they're going to be a handful, and we've prepared really well for it. We've tried to know them really well and give them the respect that they deserve.
No ways, it's gone, obviously with Plisson, he's reverted back to this guy. Tell us a little bit about him and what he brings to the French setup.
Again, he was very impressive last week. I've played against him a few times while I was over in France, and you know, you have to be a bloody good player if you're keeping Morne Stein out of the team. In Stade Francais, he was obviously injured last year with his shoulder, and arguably probably would have gone to the World Cup and played there for them if he was fit. So again, a really exciting young player, and he's still young, I think, and one that we have to look out for. He showed all his tricks last week, and we're going to have to be on top for a game to keep him quiet, I think.
Just from the weekend, obviously kicking that goal to equalise, from a personal point of view, how satisfying is that, and where does that leave you going into play?
Look, it was obviously satisfying to get the kick because it got us a draw. I think it was probably more satisfying because it was not the difficulty of where it was in the pitch, it was just the conditions in terms of the wind had picked up, and just, I suppose, as you get older and more experience, and probably the more kicks you miss, the more experience you get in those situations, and just trying to take the wind out of play and just hit it down the middle. And at one stage I thought it was going to veer off, and then the wind kicked in the way I thought it would, and thankfully it went over. But you know, draw, you know, were we happy with it? No, we're not overly happy with it. It's okay, but you know, we probably did enough to win the game, and maybe at the same time we probably did enough to lose the game. So it was probably a fair reflection in the end.
Was it the kick that Moses Kearney seemed to be grabbing your chest with tightly coming off? How are you?
People think I tried my chest. I was just trying to keep my shoulder up because, like I said, my neck was sore. But look, I'll be fine. I probably feel the way front rowers feel every day. But a soft out half just didn't hide it as well as those boys.
John, you've had their number over the last number of times that Ireland have played France. Do you go to Arsenal with a lot of confidence compared to maybe previous Irish teams?
We've won twice ever in France as an Irish team, so I don't think you can ever go to Paris confident. We've drawn once as well after leading, I think, 17-3. They're never beaten over there, and a bloody, you know, it's a tough place to go. It's one of the toughest places to go in international rugby, and just because we've had a little bit of a purple patch against them doesn't mean anything now. Every test match is different in its own right, and I think they brought in a new regime, and they always seem to start well with that new regime. They got a win last week, and that'll give them the confidence to go again this week. And like I said, twice in however many years isn't a great reflection on us, but hopefully we can add to it.
Joe, just from what led into the Wales game, there seemed to be one manner of doom and gloom. Do you think that has lifted and has changed in a matter of 6 days?
Again, for us, it's a little bit outside the bubble. For us, it's just to roll the sleeves up and get on with it. So for us, this week, I haven't really seen what people are anticipating. Just we know what we're anticipating, and just trying to manage as much of that as possible. I think if you start to get distracted by what's outside the bubble, it's not productive time. And I think, you know, we had a very, very short window this week. We trained for 32 minutes on Tuesday, and we trained for 63 minutes today. And we will be very limited in what we do in our captain's run. As a result, that's the sum of our preparation for a huge test match, because we can't afford to slip up.
So, based on
Last
that,
couple, please.
limited training time, how significant is it now that it was such a battle against Wales in terms of sharpness and being at that kind of at that level going into this game now, given how truncated preparation time was?
Yeah, I think probably the worst thing about that brief training time was that a number of players didn't train on the Tuesday anyway, so we really only got to train today, and then we had players going in and out based on trying to work out who was fit and who wasn't. And so, you know, unfortunately for Simon Zebo, his knee was just a little bit sore, and he couldn't stretch out fully, and you know, we just decided to err on the side of caution with Keith, because he has still got to go through his flown through everything as far as his HIA is concerned, but he's got to do his last step of that tomorrow, and we have to name a team today. So that's probably as much of the frustration as anything else, is the uncertainty. I think if we had that window with absolute certainty, I think you can cope a little bit better, but we were kind of mixing and matching, and so it's not perfect, but it is what it is, and I know the players don't reflect on that too much. They look forward and try to focus on what they need to do.
Last question, please.
2013, which is a small game, the difference in your performance levels from the Australian game to the New Zealand game. Bearing that in mind, how much do you think that Italian game would have brought on this French team with Kearney? Because after all, he was going into the dark as well. It was his first test for him. Yeah,
look, it's inevitable, unfortunately, that they will improve. It's all very well to train, and even to train under pressure situations and try to create scenarios where you're under pressure. There's nothing like the pressure of a test match, the pressure of the scoreboard starting to tick over at 18-10. I think that showed a real resilience and a calmness that they were able to work their way back to 18-17, then get in front and win the test match. So, I think there's enough experience in there. In the end, a number of those, tight five, for example, the tight five was very similar to the tight five that had been used for the last probably 2 or 3 years. They've changed it up this week, but Antonio played against us last year in the Six Nations and came on and was pretty impressive. Poirot has really brought something as well, and would be reasonably similar to Benarouz around the pitch, being very mobile and able to put pressure on ball. And so for them, I think when I look at their individuals, it's a pretty scary bunch. And the longer those individuals have to form a collective, I think the more threatening they're going to be as a group. So I just hope that's rounds 3, 4 and 5 for them.
Okay guys, we're going to shut down this first portion.